Another visitor. Stay a while. Stay forever.
Hello, it's Dave at VTR. Welcome to the channel. And today we're going to focus on retro gaming. We're going to have a play with this brand new MISTer Multisystem. You see, I want to try and relive some of my youth. We started out with a Dragon 32. That's where I initially learnt to program. We then moved on to a Commodore 64. And for whatever reason, which I still don't understand today, instead of going for an Amiga, we chose an Atari ST. So I'd love to try and replicate those systems on this today. And just to add to that nostalgic kick, we're also going to try, that's heavy. Who said retro was best? We're also going to try and connect this CRT for the ultimate experience. You'll know from previous videos that I've set up and created a RetroPie and housed it in a monster joystick, and I love playing on that RetroPie, so I'm really intrigued to see how this multi-system differs from the RetroPie. There's only one way to find out. Let's crack on and build this. It comes in kit form. It's designed and sold by RMC Retro and Heber Limited, both based here in the UK. If you want all the ins and outs of this system, I highly recommend visiting RMC Retro's channel. He's got several videos on this. The DE10 Nano for Intel FPGA University Program. What? What does that mean? Why is this in our gaming system? Well, this is where the MISTer part of the name comes into play. MISTer is an open source project upon which this system is built. It's the brains, if you like. It provides a series of cores, one for each of the consoles or computers we wish to preserve. Unlike RetroPie, replication or emulation, whatever you want to call it, is done at the hardware level, not in software. That's why we have this card. The clever bit is FPGA. This card can be programmed to operate in the same way as the hardware and chips of the machines we wish to replicate. I stupidly thought that this power supply was missing from my delivery. As you saw, it was hiding away in that DE10 Nano box. I sent a message to RMC Retro. They responded immediately saying it would be in there, and of course when I opened the box, there it was. Ah dear, I felt particularly stupid, but that's a good sign that the support is there and they're very responsive. Thumbs up for that. And here we have the multi-system motherboard designed and built by Heber Limited, an all-in-one motherboard that hosts the FPGA card, and then it adds a variety of input-output options including USB ports, HDMI, VGA and SCART, audio in for systems that support tape loading, an expansion port, and most importantly, an on-off switch. How else would you fix things? With plenty of onboard memory, this system is built for future expansion, and combined with the FPGA card, we have a very promising platform. Hardware replication, meaning better accuracy, better performance, and lower latency. That is, this should feel and look like you're playing with the real thing. Let's take a look at the case that comes with this multi-system. I purchased the grey version. It also comes in black and white. It is 3D printed. Mine needed a fair amount of tidy up on the inside, but that's okay. If you've got your own 3D printer, the files are freely available, so you can print your own if you wish. I should say this is version 1 of the case, and they've already announced a new revision including many enhancements, so the chances are I'll go for that as a future upgrade. And that's what I love about this ecosystem. People from all over are providing their own enhancements, and I'm sure there will be many more cases to come in all sorts of different form factors. It does come with an integrated fan as well to keep things nice and cool, and a removable front for access to additional expansion ports. And there we are. Pretty neat. Looks like a console in its own right. So in our kit we have a blank card. I need to install MISTer on here so we can put the card in there and get to the good stuff. So let's crack on and install MISTer. The simplest way to install MISTer is to use a utility called MISTer Fusion. I'm just going to download that now. I'm going to use the Raspberry Pi imager to stick that onto the card. Okay, I think we're ready to power on, but before we do that, let's just take a quick tour of all the ports. Ethernet, 2 USB ports there, VGA out, audio out, digital audio out, HDMI out, and a power in. This here allows for the SCART cable as well. We'll explore that later. On the front we've got 4 USB ports, another additional USB port, a snack port, which through an adapter allows you to plug in the actual controllers of the console of your choice, power switch, a reset button, and I don't know what these 2 buttons do, but we'll find out pretty much soon enough. Alright, we're ready to power on. Well, I can hear the fan, that's a good start. Oh, yes, look at that, MISTer Fusion is installing MISTer. Awesome. It's going to take more than 2 minutes. Okay, I'll see you then. I will admit it's much later in the day. This has taken quite a while to set up. I've even had time for a haircut. But this is one hell of a system. The UI is quite hardcore compared to a RetroPie, but the capabilities are awesome. Let's just take a look at the consoles for a start. Atari 2600, Game Boy, Master System, NES, Sega CD, the list goes on. But I wanted to try and relive my youth and visit some of the computers that we had when we were younger, starting with the Dragon 32. There she is, the Dragon 32. All I remember about the Dragon was that it was very green, and there you are, the green boot up screen, amazing. Oh, this brings back so many memories. I've got to type in what is probably the first program I ever wrote. And there you are, my first ever program. Right, let's load a game. Chucky Egg was one of my favourite games on the Dragon 32. Oh, that's rather nice. Oh, and there's the loading screen for Chucky Egg. Oh, this brings back so many memories. And that's what's so cool about this. In fact, when I launched this Dragon 32 core, what it's actually doing is reprogramming the FPGA card that we saw when I was building the system earlier. So for all intents and purposes, inside this box right now is the hardware and chips of a Dragon 32. So I should get a really good replica experience from back in the day. That was a blast revisiting the Dragon 32, but I really want to get onto the Commodore 64. That was the machine that I spent the most time on back in my youth. And I want to play Drop Zone. It's a game that I've played on the RetroPie many times, so it'd be interesting to see how that compares. Right, let's try and load Drop Zone. There she is. And this time we're going to try and use the joystick, see if that works. Oh yes, look at that. Awesome. I must say this feels really good. I don't know what it is, it just has a great feel about it. Nice emulation this. I'm really looking forward now to trying out the Atari ST. Even though we have one in the family, I didn't fall in love with this machine, but it's going to be interesting to see what the desktop looks like. Look at that Atari ST desktop. Oh, that brings back memories. Does the mouse work? Yes, it does work. Fantastic. Okay, let's load a game. The one game that I remember playing was Oids. I loved that game. So let's see if we can load that now. Oh no, I crashed and killed all of the guys. It's been fun revisiting the computers from my youth, but let's push this machine a little bit. Let's try out the arcade game Double Dragon. On the Raspberry Pi 4, on the RetroPie, it struggles a little bit with this game, so let's try it out and see what happens. I really want to try out a CRT, so I've removed the top of the case and plugged in the SCART cable. I should really install this properly and have the cable coming out the back there neatly. That's the case design that I've chosen. But I've done it quickly because I really want to try out this old thing. I really want to visit the good old Commodore 64 with this CRT, as this is pretty much the setup I used to have back in the day. And there's the boot up screen again. And I don't know what it is, it just looks so much better on a CRT. Right, there's a particular game I want to play, and that is Uridium. I love this. This game looks so good on the CRT. The MISTer open source project that this is all based on is fantastic. I think that using the FPGA reprogrammable board is definitely the future of retro gaming, there's no doubt. And the MISTer open source project is constantly being updated, so we're just going to get more and more out of these systems in the future. Right, there's only one thing left to do, and that's decide what am I going to play next and on what system.